Loading snacks.
What's good, Loading Snacks Universe? Your boy Jokes is here. I got the homie Marcus, and it's time for another edition of the Finisher Podcast.
Finisher.
And Marcus, we're at episode 15, my dude.
I know, right? And everyone who's listening, we apologize that we're kind of behind. Things have been kind of crazy on both of our ends. So we apologize. But, we're here. We're back. We're just vibing, going right in.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, we're here to talk about some wrestling. For those of you listening, for those of you watching, we greatly appreciate it. We're just here. By now, you know it. We're talking here to talk about all things wrestling. The good, the bad, the ugly, hopefully always the good, but sometimes those things do happen. But as usual, for you guys wanting to keep track of everything that's going on, the best place you can do that is inside of the Loading Snacks Wrestling chat. Easy way to get to it, go to the Beacons link. You'll be able to click and
Hey, I
join.
can actually do this because it's Fandango.
Hit that link, you'll be able to go and join into the chat. Plus, you'll be able to catch up with all the other antics that we be doing as well too, because Loading Snacks has so much stuff entail for it. Um, I'm ready. I'm ready to go ahead and start talking. 'Cause, man, it's been a little bit. We need to get back into
A
the
lot
flow.
has happened in the wrestling world, in the wrestling
Um,
community. So, yeah.
so like I want to like this. I don't want to say this is going to be like a news kind of one, but I feel like there's just things that we have to talk about, the good and the bad. So um, I want to start a little bit with the bad. But then as we talk about it, I want to really talk about if it really truly is bad. Um, it's been a little while now since we've had WWE doing releases. Now, during SmackDown last week, uh releases started happening left and right. um
Mm-hmm.
and the unfortunate piece of this is some of these people that got released. This is not the first time, unfortunately. So let me just I want to just go run through this list right quick, and then we can kind of talk individually about some of them. But um so currently on this list right now of released superstars, we have the Authors of Pain again, uh, Paul Ellering again, Cedric Alexander, Sonya Deville, Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, Giovanna Vinci, and the Good Brothers again. Um, Now obviously I never want to see anyone get cut, not have their contracts renewed. It's just it's sad all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but we've talked about how even with the new introduction of championships, um, people still kind of get lost in the shuffle. It's an unfortunate thing, but when you do have a pretty deep roster, the unfortunate things do happen. Uh, Now for me, like the Good Brothers, like Gallows and Anderson, I love these guys. Um, Stuck with them for a very long time, from the New Japan to the TNA. Like I just love the vibe. I love the aura that these dudes give off. But once again, they've hit the chopping block.
I mean, but
And
that creative wasn't really doing anything with them. Like,
and that's
they were doing something, and then they were backing up Mia Yim,
hmm
and then AJ did his lone wolf stint, and then before he got injured and then went away, so they were
hmm
supporting her. Then she went to do things on her own, and then they went to NXT, became NXT Tag Team Champions, lost the championships, and then nothing.
yeah, it got stale. Like, and as much as I love these guys, like once if there's nothing that they can really, if your main goal is going to be to support others, and unfortunately, like the likes of AJ, who unfortunately got hurt and was out for a little while, Mia Yim, she had them at her side, but it's not like they can really interfere within the women's matches, other than they can
I mean, they could. These hands are ready to eat for everyone.
um but they kind of didn't have too much that they can do. Now when I look at this list, um and there's a couple more that aren't on this list right now, and we can jump into those, but like Sonya Deville, who the Pure Fusion Collective,
Terrible faction name.
I don't
I've been
like the
saying that since
name,
day one.
but I did like the atmosphere and the aura. I like what they were doing. I don't think they were necessarily getting the biggest of pushes. Don't get me wrong. Sonya at times would be on the mic, be front and do some things, but I feel like she didn't necessarily get that extraness when it came time for actually being in the ring.
I think the way they really could have capitalized if they did some sort of don't shoot the messenger, if they really heavily lean into Sonya Deville's like gender fluidity. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like if it was, I'm not saying they have to be like, oh, we're the lesbians or anything. I'm not saying
Mhm.
they go that far. But if they do something just like, yo, this is all group, it's like a pun, like a carny pun for it, then I feel like it would have went over better. And then they could have leaned in as like, okay, Sonya Deville is daddy, and and does what she does,
Mhm.
and then being that leader of that group. And I feel like they would have had a better time than what they, not saying that they haven't had some good spots, but
Mhm.
they would have definitely probably gotten more over with the fans.
Agreed. Like I like some of the stuff they were doing behind the scenes, like when Zoe Stark, like initially when she was wearing the all black, it's like yeah, you one of us, and like they were kind of trying to sell that piece of it, and then Zoe kind of went through that phase where she was changing and getting dressed up, and they just
I
couldn't.
feel like they should have leaned into that. The moment Zoe Starks put on a dress, they should have leaned into it and have her come out wrestling in a dress. And that would, I swear, that would have got hits.
And so I feel like they could have probably ran a little bit further with that, but
Not saying she has to wear a dress, everyone. I'm not saying she has to
right,
wear a
right,
dress to
right.
wrestle. I'm saying for
That
gimmick's
story purpose
sake,
and that
for
gimmick of
that
what they were
story
doing.
purpose, it would have made sense and it would have worked. It would have got over. Because everyone would
So
have been shocked. Zoe
very much
Starks
so,
wrestling in a dress? What?
very much so. Um, other on that list, Authors of Pain. Now,
Not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
They're a good solid tag team. They're not a memorable tag team, unfortunately.
They were very good when they were in NXT. NXT just creates this beast and creates these amazing stars, but always sometimes it doesn't translate when they get to the main roster. I do believe when Authors of Pain first showed up, they were solid. They were solid. They got the
I
push.
feel
They
like
were
they got
this
the Chris Jericho treatment with Karrion Cross.
when Carrion started getting that individual thing, I was like, something's wrong. Because like AOP was nowhere to be found, Paul Ellering was nowhere to be around. Miz separated from him. Like I thought they were definitely leaning heavily into that whole Miz being partnered with them. And it seemed like we were about to make some like this was going to be like a bigger faction that they were going for. Um but same, Authors of Pain just creative wise, it seemed like there was just nothing they could figure out what to actually do with them. Like we've talked about, like there's the need of being more tag teams
And
in
I think it's the
WWE
main reason is that they've been heels their entire run.
for the for yeah. Honestly, I feel like maybe in NXT they had like a
I'm saying like on their main roster run, they've been heels,
mm,
and they haven't been heels that have gotten over or gotten significant heat.
mm,
And I feel like that kind of like House of Black ish, where okay, Malachi is going to get that main heat if they do anything.
mm,
I feel like that's what AOP suffered from. And then it doesn't hurt like, okay, you bring in Karrion Cross, you still have this manager, but Karrion Cross manager is not that manager, it's Scarlett. So it's just too many pieces that aren't really clicking. Like it was a good idea in theory, execution was
I dig it. And like the last one I want to talk about quickly, and this one I don't think we need Giovanni Vinci. Now,
I'm actually upset because they gave him like the promo package, and then they fed him to Cedric Alexander. Was it Cedric Alexander? I think it was Cedric Alexander.
it was either
And
Eccentric or Apollo. I don't remember which
it
one
was
it was.
Apollo. It was
It may have
Apollo.
been
And he lost on his debut match back after coming back from an injury from
And
Ludwig. They gave him Ludwig's promo package, and then they just like they didn't even make art. They jobbed him to the bottom, and it was just like, thank you for your time. Good luck in your future endeavors. Don't forget, there's a 90-day clause.
because we had been seeing the writing on the wall for Giovanni within Imperium for a little while now. Like he just the mold, like the way that they were doing, he just didn't fit anymore. Like he was taking all the L's for everything that when it came
The
time
Wheeler
for it.
Yuta.
Um, and we could just see that like we were at the point where it was like, oh, okay, here's how we're gonna create like this break in Imperium, and at least Giovanni was gonna end up, hitting the solo side and either coming back at Ludwig or going after Gunther, where we had no idea which way it would go. But then when he left Raw, we got the package, and dude was gonna show up on SmackDown, brand new character and everything. I was like, oh, they're gonna give my man an opportunity to show that he can actually hang on his own. And I would have been like, you know what, that'd have been amazing. We could get him this solid singles run. He proved to Imperium, I don't need you guys anymore. They'll try to invite him back. You know what? I'm gonna keep doing my own thing. But then he lost, like in the debut match, which at that point, you know what? But you know what? I wasn't 100% mad at that. I was like, okay, we're gonna run with this. He's gonna either lose this first match, something's gonna happen, the character's gonna evolve or change again for this quick instant moment, and we're gonna move on to something else.
Never happened. Never got
That
the
would have
opportunity really to in any case. It was just
it killed it. It killed it.
ice.
So I guess the question as we kind of rattle through these. So
What I am upset about for really though
mm,
is that Blair Davenport would have actually gotten screen time recently had another superstar, I mean legend, not been in this year's Royal Rumble.
from what we heard about that, like, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because Blair Davenport solid when she came to NXT.
I think
And
she had like a mind like a kind of an injury
I
when
believe
she was drafted, and then she was out for like half the year or majority of the year, and then started was coming back, or maybe she's still injured. I don't remember, but I am upset about that. It was just like, what is the point of you guys calling up these stars and then doing nothing? Just leave them where they are. Then
hmm
like, I get you're trying to make space for other people to come in, but if you don't got this is the again my point number one. There needs to be another show and let them go do what they need to do.
on there for it. So I guess as we rattle through them. So like right now, I guess Marcus, for you, like I never want to see this happen, but I'm sure some of them want to land on their feet, not gonna be a problem. But are you upset with any of the ones like completely that the fact that they've now been let go from the WWE?
I would say I'm not mad that the Good Brothers are gone.
hmm
I would have liked now that AJ's back and a potential Finn kick out of the Judgment Day, we
hmm
could get a actual WWE Bullet Club.
Type of
Like
yeah.
that will always be like my main dream. Sorry, Cody, but I need an act. I need them to say Bullet Club live. We are Bullet Club, not the club, not the OC. We are Bullet Club.
There was a point where I think that could have been something to have. I don't think WWE would have ever used it. I still think we've missed on the opportunity of getting them back together. Like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was a little upset on Raw when AJ was out there and Dom responded and came out and talked with him. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna step back for a second. Dom is gonna come out here and we're gonna start to set up this Finn Balor kind of work his way into start having some type of angle with AJ at that moment. And I was just like, you know what? I can rock with this. But then the very next segment after that was Seth Rollins, and then of course Finn comes out and starts to have words with Seth, and I was just like, well, that just threw that whole entire plan away. Um, I think at this point now, listen, as much as we wanted to see it, I'm perfectly fine. This idea, I just throw it out the window now. Like I feel like we don't have the other pieces that could have made this a cool moment. Even if it would have been, a month, we would have we would have run through this and be like, hey, let's partner up again like we did in the old days. Let's go run things. And maybe things didn't go so well. And they decided to separate whatever. Like at this point, I don't need it to happen in the WWE. If Finn and
I mean,
AJ
but it would
cross
have made
path,
sense because we got Tama, we got Tonga.
we have
Like
all of them.
it,
Like we
it
have
can
core members
actually
of the
we can
Bullet Club.
actually have the Bullet Club, OG Bullet Club in the WWE.
So, but unfortunately, like that plan is still so far out there. The bloodline thing is not going to end for a long time. So Tonga, once he finally heals and comes back, and we see
Get
how
some
he plays
screen
into the
time, get
mix.
some talking time to where he can actually progress his character.
I
I feel
need
like it will be good for him
I need to
because
see
right
that.
now he's just coming in kind of stiff, but he's hanging in there. He's pulling his weight, but I expect more from him from what I've seen and what I know he's capable of. So
Yeah. Right
there's
now,
that.
right now, I see God is kind of taking the back seat with the whole bloodline story, which I'm not upset about. They're kind of in the passenger seat for right now. Um, with Jacob stepping up, kind of
And that
really
man,
getting his
Jacob, has done more in the bloodline than all the other bloodline members in the entire faction.
having more of his personality that we're seeing come to the States. Like we were already afraid in the beginning. Like when we found out that Jacob was coming and we saw him make his debut, I was like, this dude is better on the mic than Solo. How are they going to keep him from outshining Solo? At least for
I
what they were
love
trying
you,
to do.
Solo. That's how. That's how you bury a person's mic skills. You give them 3 words.
Two lines and here and there, but we see how those pieces are kind of moving. But before we get into like that, so right now, like I'm kind of in the same boat you are, Mark. Like these people being let go from WWE, I'm not upset about. Or I'm not mad. I never want to see anyone step away. Like I'm sorry, Tatiana loves Sonya Deville,
Yes, she does. I'm
and
sorry.
when I saw like that post came up on my phone, and when I tell you, I had to go hold her hand before even uttering the words
Like, hey, Bay, I need you to sit down for this.
that Sonya Deville got released, because like she was just in the Rumble, and I thought she had a good little time in the Rumble. So um,
I
I,
mean, what? Like, I was surprised. Isla Dawn was released.
oh yeah, it's a dawn. Like I wasn't that was far left field for me
I
because
guess that's what happens when you and your homegirl put a hex on the women's tag team titles, and then no one can stay healthy with those titles.
so I don't know. So I think, don't get me wrong, for the grand scheme of things, these releases, you know what? These were good for business. Like I know when that original time when a couple of them got released, Triple H went did the 180, brought folks back in. I feel like that was kind of, it wasn't done right this time. Let us try to work through some. Let's see how we can get your characters and get things going. But just like you said, when certain
Hey,
storylines,
Chips let all of them go so my man Ricky could come in.
and listen, and that was going to be the good. Hey, listen, you said it in the right way into some of the good things that we have seen. So as of this recording, this past Tuesday, Ricky Starks made his debut on NXT. Now let's be real. We knew that this dude was coming to WWE in some whatever shape and form. We were kind of more confident it was going to be on the NXT side,
Yep.
but we weren't sure how they were going to do it. Now, funny enough, I had just seen, they posted about, him being removed from AEW's website. His contract status was like they let his contract run out and there was no compete clause. So the first thing when I saw that, I was like, oh snap, this dude probably gonna show up at, what was it, Vengeance Day on
Mm-hmm.
Saturday or today, by the time you guys probably watch this. But then we hit the flip and just my man just randomly, like off the super random, just showed up
He pulled a
on
Jay
it.
Uso coming in through the crowd.
And I love the way that he came in. And everyone didn't know where the voice was coming from. They had to look around, and once they found him, everybody was on it. And of course, they started doing the chant, the Ricky Starks chant, and he ate that and was like, "You guys already know who I am." Now, the one thing I'm interested in doing now, granted, Ricky Starks
But
is,
he's never currently he has not said his name is Ricky Starks,
and that's what I'm wondering because he acknowledged the fact that you guys know who I am. Commentators, same thing, did not refer to him as Ricky Starks. So, as much as that is his name, eh, I don't know if they're going to let him use the name. So that would be.
I don't think TK has been petty enough to not allow people to use their name yet. He hasn't gone full Vince McMahon yet.
Now he could always do because his actual name, his real name is Richard. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think.
Nah, that's not getting over. That's not getting over because then it's gonna be nothing but dick jokes. Because especially if he ends up on Netflix, so nah.
So
we're keeping him Ricky.
So I'm eager to see how that works because if he went by Richard Starks, I don't know. It sounds like he's the mix of Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic.
Marvel gonna sue him.
But I'm happy that he's made his way to NXT. I'm waiting to see him. We're gonna have these AEW collisions in NXT. Eventually we get them to the main roster. Cody is there too, so we'll shuffle into that.
Hey, that's crazy. Everyone who was in the beginning of AEW that was a part of the Nightmare Factory is now in WWE.
Yeah,
for the most part.
For the most part, Cody was like, "Listen, guys, I'm going back. I want to take you guys." Like when that one, I forget what paper when Ricky came to see Cody perform. Behind stage, somebody, of course, I'm sure they got fired, took a picture of the security cam seeing Ricky come in to. They probably had a little business meeting probably at the same time as well too. But
he's like, "Hey, how can I get out of my contract with Tony?" He's like, "This is how you do it, young blood."
Hey, because I'm gonna be honest with you, that Ricky seemed like he was trying to get fired at times from AEW. When he showed up at GCW, he made some comments about the cons and all that, and about AEW, like just letting him sit at home and not do anything. That he wanted to wrestle, and obviously there's two sides to the coin, and we don't get both sides all the time. But from what we've seen and how like they've just slowly let my man just pull him off the website, so there could be some truth to it.
Hey, TK gonna put that on the show in probably next week on Collision and just be like, "Don't be a Stark and leave."
Hey, listen, if they do some shady stuff like that, that's just really just getting on my nerves now. But yeah, I'm happy for him that he's made it over to NXT. Not to mention we haven't talked about since we've been back. So now Penta has also made his debut.
Cero.
On the main roster. Went straight to Raw. Solid
been
win.
So killing far. It. This man has a better debut than Sin Cara.
Definitely had a better debut. He only had one little hiccup that they're not going to admit because my man did kind of eliminate himself in the first couple minutes, but we did not see his feet touch the floor, and we
only 1 foot. Only 1 foot.
Only 1 foot.
This man is tall. You gotta remember, this man is tall, so he gotta maneuver a little bit. And this man is 40, so
hey, and my man moves around. He is mobile. He is agile. He's had a great start, and I'm eager to see what they do with him in WWE. We know the hope is at some point Rey Fenix is also going to make the trek over as well too. I'm good with Penta having this solo run right now. I would like to see him go for maybe like the U.S. Championship or Intercontinental Championship.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking U.S. Championship, but that's on SmackDown, so it has to be the Intercontinental. But I don't think Braun is dropping that belt anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think he could have a good run for a little while, at least until we want to get if Ray makes the move over and we get them into the tag team division. Like there's some solid tag teams right now. I'm liking I'm liking the heel Street Profits.
Oh yeah, I roll the clip back. I said they should have been heel alongside. Hey, Sin, if you ever watch this and you're clipping making clips, you find that clip of me saying Street Profits should have been heel, Bianca Belair should have been heel. I said it, and I want to continue to say they do their best work when they're heels.
Hmm.
Like Happy Montez, all of that is good and all, but it's all about them accolades right now for these young cats, and they need accolades.
So the tag team division, once again, like there's some fire being lit. I'm always eager to see how we can do with that. But
And Dawkins talks better as a heel than as a face, because as a face, all it was Montez talking.
mhm,
Now as a heel, Angelo can talk, and he's killing it right now. In my opinion, he's really leaning into it, and I can feel his frustration of every time they're about to win, someone is coming out of nowhere, interrupting their match, costing them their belts. I get that. Talk your truth, King. Talk your truth.
so yeah, so for the negatives, like we all have these good. So we've had some babies. So I mean, unfortunately, we gotta clean out some people to bring in these new faces. Um, and I think Rick Star said like he believes that what he is the future, and I think like Ricky Starks has so much potential, and he definitely if they keep him going, he's definitely main event worthy. They can get him to that point, and we can see how he can be put into the mix with a lot. So I'm I'm hate to see people go, but then I love to see what type of these additions that we're going to go at. And not to mention, we're getting a whole new faction on NXT that one, we have no idea who they are. We don't know if there's current people on the roster or maybe we are bringing in some new people. Like either way, I'm excited to see how that pans out. Um, but yeah, the unfortunate pieces like this happen. There's going to be releases. It, it's it's always upsetting when it comes during the show. Like, and you would think that sometimes that would put a dark cloud over when the show is going on, but it's like it is what it is. It's still a business. Um, honestly, like I hope the Good Brothers. It'd be funny if they went to TNA because then there's a chance they could still show back up on NXT. It's funny now how this is actually going to play out, but my hope is they actually go back to New Japan. I think their best
Yeah,
run
they
currently
do their best stuff in New Japan.
has been in New Japan, and
Well, no, they may actually go AEW
it's a
again
possibility. It's a possibility
because Kenny, even though he has Osprey, they're still outnumbered against the Elite
to do, and that's valid too.
and the Doncaster. They're just drastically outnumbered.
And I imagine with them, I don't think their contracts ran out, so I don't. I think they may have 90 days. The only one that I know for a
I
fact
think they're not part of that 90-day clause.
it's possible. The only one that I know, like Sonya Deville, I know they're just not renewing her contract. So when her contract ends, which I do believe is like the end of February, she just becomes a free agent. She could just honestly show up anywhere it is. And I would like to see her. You know what? Stardom. I think could be a cool, even if she doesn't go over there for like a permanent type of
I
thing.
think she goes TNA
I like to see her get into a little bit of a different pond. Like I think TNA could
and
work.
become a knockout. I can see it. I can see her becoming a knockout women's champion, seeing as she hasn't been a singles champion.
Mm.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think she's been a singles champion.
She
She's
has.
been
She's
close,
gotten close. She's had a couple opportunities, but
just no cigar.
yeah. So I'm hoping all of them. I want to see their faces again. Just kind of like how we had that batch with like Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler getting released. Like that whole Mustafa Ali, like that whole batch has found their rhythm, and I hope we see the same thing with this batch as well too.
Shout out to my man Matt Cardona for paving the way for all of these WWE stars and how to sell themselves and not give up on themselves and how to do their merch sales and
You invent
keep
yourself.
and reinventing and going out like, hey, these are the venues you may want to check out and having matches with and promotions. And hey, I got a couple ears here, a couple ears there that you may want to talk to if
Yeah,
you want to get into some things,
absolutely.
and you'll find your success.
And who knows?
Like,
We've seen, like, listen, Drew McIntyre got fired, left, completely reinvented himself, and came back champion, even if it was for a brief amount of time. But he's main event caliber now. So it could take some of them leaving once again, doing some stuff on the indies, reinventing, finding like that new character or something. If
he's
we
a
may see a
3-time
thing for
champion, isn't he? Or is he a 2-time champion?
2 time technically, because he finally won. Um,
He had his
during
WrestleMania moment.
he had his
That was
WrestleMania moment.
2.
It was COVID
It
moment,
was
but
it was cashed in by Damian Priest,
mhm.
and then I could have sworn he won it one other time before that.
That was the first when he came back and won during COVID during the Mania, and unfortunately, it was supposed to be in front of giant audience, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I'm just hoping we can see that happen with some of the others and go reinvent themselves. But the good and the bad side of it, so it is what it is. Marcus, what you got on your plate?
Wyatt 6.
Oh,
I need whoever's like writing this Wyatt 6 story, however chaotic it is, it needs to make sense. Like, I get it. You don't want they kind of want to give it like the Kane Undertaker supernatural vibes.
mm-hmm.
I get that, but make the story make sense. And let everyone in the loop know, like, hey, this is the end game.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're taking it. I need you guys to sell these points to get this message across. And I feel like that is where it's kind of lacking. It's like, okay, they come in, they only are going after other people with pseudo factions. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I need them to get out of only going after people in factions and
Mm-hmm.
actually start targeting other individuals so that the people in that group in the Wyatt 6 can get more time individually so they can have their spotlight put on them, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They're their firefly light, if you will, if you want to go that route.
Sure.
And then now that my girl Alexa Bliss is back, she can kind of steer them in the right direction because out of everyone, she's the actual only main eventer in the group
Mm-hmm.
that
Valid.
would be in the group, so to speak.
Yeah. Right
So
now, I'm.
let her be like the angel demon on Bo Wyatt's shoulder.
Yeah, because right now, like, I'm upset with Bo
Like, they
Wyatt
started
six.
off
Like,
really good, and then it's just like, okay, they was like, oh, we don't have the budget to continue to do all this nonsense. Yeah, you do. You just got partnered with Netflix. You got the budget. You got the graphics. You got the editing.
well, now, but now the thing is, they're not Raw anymore.
They're
Wyatt Six
SmackDown.
is SmackDown.
But I think they're not tied to only SmackDown.
No, they are on SmackDown. That trade. So this whole trade portal, whatever thing they've been doing, the Wyatt Six is specifically was a part of it because the Miz made a big thing about it, but then he ended up getting moved to SmackDown, so he's still in their line of sight if that ends up happening. I'm the ball has been dropped. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's maybe there was a slowdown because of the fact of Alexa coming back and potentially joining in on it. Like literally, the last we had a package that Bo Dallas did. where it was after the him the talking with each other, and like everyone had like their moments that they did it. It seemed like we were getting ready to set up for that next person that he was either getting ready to go after or to possibly bring into the group, and then it was just radio silence.
Well, I do know when Alexa during the Royal Rumble, there was a static little fizz,
Hmm.
like kind of okay, teasing Wyatt Six. And then when she actually showed up to wrestle on what was it, SmackDown? Was it SmackDown? Yeah, it was SmackDown
Hmm.
because Charlotte's on SmackDown. Yeah, there was actually like I could have sworn there was a QR
There was, and I didn't catch it apparently.
that popped up on that SmackDown. Uh, so I know Bo, aka Uncle Howdy, has been tweeting, or whoever owns that account is saying, "There you are," and every time he says "There you are,"
Hmm.
that means that they're bringing someone there. That someone is being brought into the fold. Someone is going to get spoken with. So maybe that is what's like. That's in Alexa Bliss's road to WrestleMania path or future path. I don't know, but I just need everything to make sense.
Yeah, because right now, like, they're stale. I hate to say that. Like, I'm hoping obviously there's some type of plan. I'm hoping, because if not, like them all coming back, I'm hoping this is gonna suck. They're the mystery team that's gonna end up showing up in NXT. I highly doubt that's gonna be it, because that would just derail the whole entire thing. Um,
Like, and it's also a missed opportunity because you have Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, and uh, who's the third person in their qualifying match?
I
It's
forgot.
Yeah, I do know it's them two and one other person that's in there. Is it No, it's not Otis. It's another big person that's in on SmackDown.
I forget.
I can't think of the name right now, but I'm like it's a missed opportunity because you have Braun Strowman who like was already part of the Wyatt family. Like make him go darker. He keeps saying I'm a monster. Monsters don't need to talk. They just
Hmm.
do. Kane did most of his entire run without talking.
Valid.
Undertaker didn't really start talking until he became the American Badass.
Badass. Yep.
That's when he really started talking. He had a couple one-liners here and there, but outside of that it was all Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer did the talking for both of them.
What
That's
would
what
you
you need to do.
What would you do right now? Wyatt Six. If we can get them on, we can get them on SmackDown come this Friday. What are you doing to get them back on the show?
To get them back on the show, all right, it's going to start off with since it's Valentine's Day, it's going to be a present in the middle of the ring, and it's going to say for Alexa.
Hmm.
Alexa Bliss comes down, opens up, and it's the wheelchair. It's not the wheelchair, the rocking chair. The lights
Hmm.
go out. They come in the ring, and it's now Bo sitting in the rocking chair and Bray's attire, like his Wyatt attire.
Hmm.
And that's when he says, "There you are," and they have that conversation, and then we can kick off like this whole actual Wyatt Six, and then going forward, what their plans are. Maybe someone comes and interrupts them, like nobody cares, blah 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 blah, and then that's when like Alexa really shows her mic skills out of the group, and then decimates them, and then that solidifies this faction,
Hmm.
and that way it can go any different way they need it to go. But at least, hey, you gave the people what they want. Now you can capitalize, rebuild their momentum, actually do make them do other things except outside of just going after other pseudo factions because they're not going against that bloodline. Bloodline is too interlinked with Jay, Jimmy,
But I was gonna
Cody.
ask you, are they gonna? They're gonna have to run into the bloodline. I feel like that would be inevitable. How do you put the Wyatts versus the bloodline?
Not now. It can't be now. It will have to be after whatever the fallout between Cody Rock, Cody Roman, whoever becomes the actual tribal chief after WrestleMania, because I have a feeling shenanigans will ensue with the Ulafala.
Of course.
We have all of that. We need Tonga Loa to return.
Mm-hmm.
I would need the other Fatu to come into the WWE Zilla.
Mm-hmm.
To even out those ranks. And then we still have a favor that Paul Heyman owes to CM Punk. All of that needs to play out before Wyatt 6 should even be the creatives even think about making them face the Bloodline 2.0 or 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
All of those issues need to be resolved, ironed out, put to bed. Because otherwise, Y6 are going to get buried because the bloodline has been around. They're the hot thing. Everyone who loves Rome is going to put their ones up and blah, 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 blah. I love you, Solo, etc., etc., etc. They're going to get lost in the shuffle and then they're going to get released again.
And I don't want to see that. Like, for Bray's honor, and
That's
for
our
his
60-second
memory,
rant, everyone.
like they've got to figure this out, because right now they right now like I don't even want the Y6 to come back. Like I just feel like it was a waste. Like with all that hype that we hey, listen, after they murdered people, essentially
For 2 weeks, straight up bodying people.
destroyed the Raw set backstage. And then like we were doing this week after week and doing promos, and it was like, okay, we're building. I'm cool with this. I'm cool
And
with the
what
building.
the good thing about those promos is that it allowed everyone to flesh out their character. It allowed them to talk. It allowed the audience, the fans, the world to resonate with said characters. They're not the same characters that you saw in NXT, that you saw on Raw, that you saw on SmackDown. These are warped individuals on teetering from the edge of madness and trying to find their spot in the company. Now that they have found their spot, they're able to go crazy. Let them go crazy.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping
Like,
that
I
we
get it,
start.
kids and stuff watch the show. It's got to be kid friendly, etc., etc. But at the same time, let them do their thing.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be real. Right now, I don't think we're gonna hear from the Y6 till after WrestleMania. I honestly do not think we're gonna hear about them anymore until after WrestleMania. And
And you
maybe
know what?
maybe
I would not be upset about that. I just need them to go ahead, pull the trigger of Alexa Bliss is in cahoots with the Wyatt Six.
mhm. There's no two. Like, listen, I she's got to. I hope they involve her, even if she should be a part of them. But if somehow it is her going against them, and maybe they're gonna figure out how to turn her, like,
Oh, you know what? Even better idea. Alexa gets kidnapped on SmackDown. It's Valentine's Day, and then they show a video, like it's like a vignette of her getting kidnapped, and then they're at the Wyatt Six home or the Firefly Fun House.
mm-hmm.
And then that's how you introduce her back into the Wyatt Six. Well, into the Wyatt Six, and then everything would make sense. Because now she goes into her Dark Empress persona, and then that's when we get the real Alexa Bliss, the real Sister Abigail, all one person, perfectly aligned, one goal in mind.
I dig it. I just I just hate when you take a grant that like, that idea like
Dark
that
Goddess,
that
there we
was
go. Not Empress, Goddess.
goddess. the planning that they had to put together to bring this whole entire story together. Not to mention, you know what? Kind of talking about my topic. Some of them that are part of that group got released and got bought back. It's the same concept that we're talking about. And I would hate to see them coming back. We cooked up this awesome, amazing story or this plan to work them in the memory of Bray to keep this thing going for it to just completely fizzle out. Because Dexter Loomis, I love this character beforehand
Like that man actually does not need to talk to get over. This man
at
could get
all.
over without saying anything. He's like the dark serial killer Orange Cassidy of the WWE.
um, but I would hate to see that them all go back on the chopping block again. So
Well, Rowan wasn't even on the chopping block because he had already been gone.
he was
So we don't have to worry
valid.
about him.
Valid. He was already gone, and obviously this was played to bring him back. So I want to see the Wyatt Six triumph. I want to see it happen,
And
but
and this goes back to what we said in the beginning. If you're going to bring them, allow Bo to carry on this torch,
mhm,
you have to let him carry the torch. You're going to have to be creative, and you're going to have to go outside your comfort zone
mhm,
and let this man cook.
yeah. Because the only other thing I think of is I don't know if maybe one of them got hurt, and maybe they've been trying to just keep it close to the chest, is not to taint the story or to taint the Wyatt Six aura, and then maybe they're just going to attack somebody. I don't know. I feel like if at this point when they come back, they got to go big, and I don't know if it like we were just talking about. I
And
don't know if they
and
go
I
after Solo.
like I feel as though the crowd now, if they like do more heelish things, they won't know to either cheer or boo.
Yeah, that's facts too.
And like as much as they're being portrayed as faces, they shouldn't be faces.
Technically, it would be more of that heel role, especially when they kidnapped the Miz. Was it the Miz or LA
Yeah.
Knight? Both. I forget which one it was, but they fall into that bracket. But obviously, with the legacy of Bray, they're gonna be cheered because we've brought back some of like the iconic things that he did that made his character special.
I mean,
And
people booed Roman but cheered for the Usos.
so they got to figure those pieces out. Like I just don't want to see that story fizzle. If anything, maybe they'll get a WrestleMania moment and with a match that will show up potentially. I don't want to say it's going to be a throwaway match, but at some point there's going to be a match on the WrestleMania card that's probably going to be a little shaky or
No,
maybe it's
keep
put in
them
place.
away from the pre-show opening, unless it's like the opening card. I'm okay if they're like the first match.
Hmm.
I would be okay with that, but not a pre-show.
Type of
Like,
thing.
do
Unless they're
not.
going to somehow interfere the whole entire night. Like I don't really want to see that happen, but unless they're going to try to intertwine them in multiple places throughout the night. Now maybe they do show up on the pre-show and interfere somewhere. Then during the middle of the show, they do like if
Only
they
way
do it
I see
that
that
way
happening is if somehow Alexa Bliss ends up in a WrestleMania position,
on there for it.
title
I'm
position.
I'm good
But
with it.
we all know that's probably not.
A little far off right now than anything, but
Yeah. God
possibility.
damn it, Charlotte.
We knew that was coming. Like we called that ages before. Like when we were going through people, we was like, yeah, Charlotte's probably gonna come back. And then when they hit that vignette, and we was just like, oh, it's over. It's over because they could
Damn.
have kept they
We
could have kept
we
that.
got we got Charlotte Flair returning before GTA 6.
Shut up. But yeah, no, I'm
Hey,
definitely
just
gonna
be
watch it.
I'm glad it's Charlotte and not Carmella.
I mean, I'll be cool. I think I oof, that's a hot take. Like I think I may have accepted Carmelo a little bit more than I would accept Charlotte. Ah, I think I would have. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like I don't personally have an issue with Charlotte. I just the character sometimes just it just gets stale. But she's catching up to her father in multiple ways, and I don't know. If Carmella came back, I probably would have been a little more happier, even if she would have won. Probably would have been like, but yeah, so be it. But no, I'm with you on the whole Wyatt Six. Like, if they don't, I would say if after WrestleMania they don't somehow get reintroduced at like literally the Raw or the SmackDown afterwards, I feel like the plan is getting scrapped. I don't know what happened backstage, but something.
What I can say and what I do know is that whenever Roxanne Perez jumps to the main brand,
Mhm.
she's getting all the star treatment.
We hope so.
Out of everyone that has transitioned from NXT currently to the main brands, she's going to have the biggest success.
I dig it.
Hey, Sen, this is my clip. You clip that for future reference. I said it first. Big things from Roxanne Perez.
I dig it.
2025, 2026.
I dig it. Well, I think that wraps it up for our main show here. Y'all let us know what you think. Um, the releases from WWE this time around, did they really affect you, or did you think that it truly was the best for business type of thing? And where are you standpoint on with the Wyatt Six? Just let us know. Because the Wyatt Six, it could be stale now, but who knows? But we're gonna get out of here off the main part of this. We're gonna record something a little bit special as we do normally for our patrons. So if you want to be able to hear that particular chat, you gotta be a member of Patreon. So same thing that we said before. Go to the Beacons link, beacons.ai/loading snacks for those that are listening. It'll have links to all of our different areas: Patreon, the wrestling chat, anime chat. You can keep up with us on weekly. We got conventions coming up. That's the best way that you can see and support us. Um, but until our next episode, Marcus, any other parting words or anything for those listening and watching right now?
Yeah, shout out to my main Jay Uso, men's Royal Rumble winner 2025. Yeet.
Oh, sidebar before we get out of here. I never thought that we would see anything amount up to, if not be better than the Yes movement. And Jey Uso has done it with Yeet. When it for
I mean, the first two letters are YE.
I don't know what it is, but listen, dude ran with it. They had a snafu where they had to get those rights to Yeet fully to be able to use it.
Bruh,
They ran with
that
it.
should have been a no-brainer because no one person came up with the word yeet.
But hey, listen, shout outs to Jey Uso. Right now, dude, you are on top of the mountain. I wish you could have been able to fight Cody. Like I would have loved that to happen, but it makes sense for you to fight Gunther, and there's
Yo,
more
if
than
this
likely
man don't win and beat
you're
Gunther
gonna
for
beat
this
Gunther.
championship,
Y'all know I love Gunther, but Jey Uso gotta beat Gunther. There's no two
Jay
ways about
gotta
it.
be. They gotta give this man the Daniel Bryan treatment. He has to
Gotta
win.
beat him. But for those y'all, check us out on Patreon. We're gonna talk a little bit about. Funny enough, it's kind of going to be a little bit of a WrestleMania talk. We're gonna start getting a little bit early because we're on the road to WrestleMania. We're right around the corner from it. But for the homie Marcus, this is jokes. This has been episode 15 of the Finisher Podcast. Whether you're listening to us, watching us, we greatly appreciate it. We're gonna keep things going. Marcus, let the people know what they need to hear.
Just because your back is against the ropes doesn't mean you can't move forward.
And with that, we'll catch you on the next episode. Deuces.
Ta-ta for now.
Loading snacks.